All right, long ball number 2 here for Friday. We are getting into the knockouts for the Gold Cup. United States men's national team take on Costa Rica. 2025 has been the year across all sports where kind of new winners have emerged. Most recently, the Oklahoma City Thunder in basketball. But Costa Rica, if there are candidates for a new winner, you'd imagine Costa Rica as part of them. Do you think that Costa Rica is going to give this version of the men's national team a run for their money?
It'll be a challenge. Yeah, it'll be a challenge on Sunday. I don't expect that the U.S. will run away with that game. I still believe, though, the U.S. will win the game. They'll find a way to win. It could be an ugly, scrappy goal. It could be a set piece. I mean, I think they're capable of creating something from the run of play, but there hasn't been a lot through those 3 group stage matches that really fills you with confidence in that regard. I mean, Trinidad and Tobago, you toss that out the window. That was such a bad Soca Warriors team. We can't really draw any big conclusions. It was 1 goal on a set piece against Saudi Arabia. It was a couple of goals and good ones against Haiti for the most part. But, Costa Rica is better than Haiti. They're more organized than Haiti. They've got Hector Herrera, who knows how to win games in this competition, as their manager, as their coach. So I think it's going to be a test for the United States. I don't think the Ticos get past the Americans, I don't think the Ticos win this thing. I don't think they're good enough for that. And it's worth pointing out that that Costa Rica is going to be missing their leading goal scorer in this tournament, Manfred Ugalde, who's out on yellow card accumulation. So as much as you might be down on the U.S. men's national team, or as much as you might think this Costa Rica team is dangerous, that is a big blow to their chances of winning this game in regulation. Now, maybe Costa Rica decides to bunker. They sit deep. They invite pressure. The U.S. has had problems breaking down teams that sit in and play a low block. And now it's on Mauricio Pochettino. Mauricio Pochettino, I know you're not really, you're not going to be judged by a Gold Cup the year before a World Cup on home soil, but please go earn your $6 million and bring us a Gold Cup. Bring us a Gold Cup.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see. There's a couple different positions that obviously are a big question mark in the pool in general, but definitely in this Gold Cup roster. Like, will Matt Freese retain his starting position? He was a little bit of a surprise selection over Matt Turner in general, and then he had that passing error in that final group stage game. Does that disqualify him, or does Poch kind of double down and just stick with his guy? Same with up front, Ajame. Will he continue to be the man, do you think? Is there any reason to think that they might switch it up against Costa Rica up front?
I do not think that changes are coming in either one of those spots. I think Pochettino has the team that he trusts, at least from this group, or the team he likes the most. He may not be enthralled by every element of it, but I think you can imagine that they will go back after a little bit of rotation against Haiti. They will go back to the team that they used in those first 2 group stage matches from the start. So that means Diego Luna should be in the starting lineup. I believe it means Jack McGlynn will be in the starting lineup. I believe it means that Patrick Gajimeng will retain his spot as center forward, and I do believe that Matt Freese will be in goal. Regardless of the mistake that was made against Haiti, I think that Pochettino likes Freese, sees Freese is in better form, has had a good run of play behind him coming into this tournament, whereas Matt Turner was sitting the bench and sitting the bench and sitting the bench. So I don't expect anything there. I do wonder about left back, though, Rob, because Max Arfston didn't really impress a lot of people in his first 2 appearances in the Gold Cup group stage. And I'm not saying John Tolkien was a lot better against Haiti. In fact, Tolkien was sloppy and gave the ball to Haiti on throw-ins a number of times when he was trying to keep his feet on the chalk on the touchline. So there was sort of like a lack of concentration maybe. But Tolkien did some nice things in that game. He does have a wicked left foot of his own to kind of add to that mix. I don't think Arfston is made for the way Pochettino wants to play. So I wonder about that. But, I think the smart money is probably on Arfston because Pochettino has proven that he likes that player.
Unfortunately for the men's national team program, a big part of the narrative in 2025 is them playing in big cavernous stadiums with not a lot of people in them. So this weekend for this knockout game against Costa Rica, they are playing in Minneapolis. And I wanted to ask, is US Bank Stadium, is that the football stadium or is that the MLS stadium?
No, that's not the MLS stadium. No, that's Allianz Field is the MLS stadium.
Yes.
That's in St. Paul. You should know your Midwestern geography better than me, Rob. I've barely
That,
been to Minnesota, so why am I explaining this to you?
that's states away. I got to drive through like 4 or 5 states to get to
I know, I'm
Minnesota.
kidding. I know the Midwest is a big place. It's a huge section of the country.
It's
The
vast.
Midwest.
So I'm really hoping that they can kind of change that narrative. And I mean, I haven't looked at the ticket availability, but in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping that the Midwesterners can fill a NFL-sized stadium to root for the men's national team. You look skeptical at first. Like I said, I don't know my namings of Minnesota-based stadiums, so I was like hopeful for a moment there that maybe it was in the MLS-sized stadium and maybe they get a good atmosphere and like a true home atmosphere. But you're shaking your head. You think it's going to be more of the same, kind of like how it was in Dallas and in LA in the spring?
Yeah, we're gonna get 20,000, maybe 25,000. I don't know. I have not seen any reports, and this is just me going on history, going on, the way it's always been. So I don't think that you're going to have a full NFL sized venue with U.S. men's national team fans in the Gold Cup,
Gold Cup.
Rob, with no Pulisic and no McKennie and no Robinson and no Weah, and I could go on.
Well, at some point, we're going to make a video about how to make these summer tournaments better. And definitely one of my leading suggestions for that future video will be playing appropriately sized venues.
Yeah, if only CONCACAF and would listen to you. I want to address Pam at 53, brand new member. Shout out to Pam at 53. Are Costa Rica better than Saudi? I would say yes, but not by a huge margin. I think that they're pretty similar in that regard. I think Saudi Arabia probably is going to defend better, right? Better. I don't know how much better. They, in the case of Saudi Arabia, the U.S. game, that was tough to break down that team. I don't think Costa Rica is going to be as disciplined defensively, so there should be some opportunities here, but it'll be a tough one. And then let's go to Angus. Minnesota is in the upper Midwest. Okay, I don't know where's Detroit? Where is Michigan?
I see. It's funny. I call it upper Midwest, but Minnesota's much more upper, so it's hard to say. Just
it's
northern Midwest. I know we get lumped in there just because I call East Coast as anything basically east of Ohio to me. So
yeah, that's probably right though. Like that's probably true. But you get Ohio. People think of Ohio as Midwest. I'm like, well, yeah, but if you consider like the Dakotas Midwest, that's massive. That's so much space.
Yeah, well, it's wild. Ohio used to be the Western frontier, so like it was truly Western, and then it became Midwest when all the rest of the geography became the United States. But what were you going to say?
I said, you know what the Midwest is?
Awesome.
It's young and restless is what the Midwest. Okay, never mind. Let's move on. That probably shouldn't be shouting out that lyric anyway, based on who wrote it. Let's move on. Let's move on.